Hey, what's up, y'all? Y'all know my slogan. I don't know it all, but I know what I've been through. Now, before we get into this video, make sure you check us out on Patreon at www.patreon.com/Hookah Anonymous _. You guys been telling us to create one for the longest, so we recently created a community where we will upload videos that we can't share on YouTube due to their guidelines, but we'll also be dropping the latest to there first, behind the scenes information that you wouldn't find anywhere else on our socials. So make sure you become a member, and after you do that, head over to our official Instagram page at Hookah Anonymous _ and follow us there. Now without further ado, let's get into what you guys came here to see. Now, I was going to stay away from this Diddy trial because there's too much emotion involved and not enough intellect. Same thing that happened with Tory Lanez and Meg Thee Stallion, where she painted this whole black men need to protect black women narrative and had the whole black Twitter divided because you had men arguing with women, and it was just a mess. Fast forward to now, we already know she lied, but somehow Tory is still behind bars. I've never seen a situation where someone is accused of shooting someone, but the suspect they said did the shooting didn't even have any bit of DNA or anything attached to the supposed weapon. Anyway, like I said, y'all, I usually don't like covering the men versus women type topics because it becomes more emotional than anything and people lose sight at the initial facts at hand. However, this is a little interesting because as of today, Diddy's trial is underway and you had Cassie in attendance as she showed up to court and she testified against Diddy and everything she's been through while being involved with him. Now, Cassie would accuse Diddy of a bunch of things and even claim that the video everyone's seen of her in the hotel getting chased through the hallway, she claims it's because she was trying to escape a current freak-off that was going on, which is why Diddy was in a towel. However, my antennas raised up, and the first thing I thought was, how did she manage to put all her clothes on if she was escaping? I don't know. On top of that, it was stated that Diddy paid the hotel off all these years to hide the footage. I think they said around $50,000. But the whole time I'm thinking, well, how is it that it's known that the hotel hid this footage, took money to hide it, but we don't hear nothing about any legal action being taken against them? What's that about? Well, also, I don't think anyone expected this turn of events that happened during trial today because one of the male escorts would testify, but instead, he had a bunch to say about Cassie. He would claim that Cassie is the one that asked him to perform kinky acts on her and not Diddy, like everyone thought. And with all that being said, y'all know Boosie had to chime in and give his 2 cents in because Boosie feels that Cassie isn't as innocent as people are making her out to be. In fact, he says that he feels she was down with it too at one point in time because she was around for too long and didn't say anything, and now it's coming out that she herself was asking for these kinky advances as well. Now, the male escort at hand goes by the name Daniel Phillip. During the trial, he would testify that Cassie was the one that asked him for golden showers when he was asked about any bodily fluids being ejaculated in certain acts. He would go on to say, quote, "So Cassie was actually the one that asked me to urinate on her. They had just come out of the room and she asked me if I had ever done that before and I said no. And she told me to do it. And apparently I was doing it wrong because they both stopped me and told me that I was supposed to let a little out at a time, not go full like take a leak on them." Crazy. Now, the last time we covered this whole Diddy situation, I told y'all to keep an open mind. Yes, people are going to say Diddy forced her. Yes, they're going to say Diddy did this and Diddy did that. But at some point in time, you got to ask yourself, did she participate willingly? Because you do have people that actually are into that stuff. And it's not a crime to be kinky, right? It's not a CTBK, crime to be kinky. Now, I'm laughing, but there is a lot of people out there that do willingly do certain stuff that we may not do and we may not understand, but they're into it. And they even got categories of that stuff. Some people like being beaten to near-death experiences. Some people like to be choked, spat on. You got people that like to be urinated on. You got people that like to do it outside instead of in the house. Point of the matter is this. It's different strokes for different folks. So it may sound crazy to us, but something that may sound crazy to you may be the norm for someone else. And I forgot what the word is that a lot of people use for celebrities. being that it's easier for them to get, pleasure, and they could pretty much do whatever they want with whoever they want because they get it at ease. They like to do things that are off the wall because it's more entertaining for them. I forgot what the word is, but a lot of celebrities speak on it, and that is a real thing. Where me and you might be satisfied with just regular intercourse, but that's so regular and average to them because they can just do it whenever they want. They like to do weird off the wall stuff. We may never do it, but it's the norm for them. Now, on another note, y'all know Boosie had to chime in and give his own 2 cents on what's going on. One thing about Boosie, he's not going to stay quiet, whether his opinion happens to be the popular one or the one that's going to get him nothing but backlash for it. For some reason, they just can't cancel Boosie. So he continues to speak his mind, and it's no different in this situation. When the male escort came out and testified that Cassie was the one that actually wanted the golden showers, Boosie would take to his Twitter account with a lot to say. Boosie would tweet saying, quote, "If anything, this should be a domestic abuse case, not a SEX trafficking case. She enjoyed the wild SEX parties and the extravagant gifts on the back end. All of these years of SEX parties, and you mean to tell me she didn't enjoy it? I'm convinced she enjoyed it. I'm pretty sure she came during those freak-offs. It was a lifestyle. This was consensual. She was his girlfriend. Trying to give someone life in prison for this is BS." Now, of course, Boosie was going to get mixed emotions based on what he said, and y'all know that the backlash was definitely coming. Most people are saying that he has daughters, and how would he feel if somebody did this to his daughter? And then you have people that actually agree with Boosie. One person would tweet back saying, quote, "Nope, it's a trafficking case because many have reported that women, men, and children were trafficked during these after parties. On top of that, she was only 19, she was groomed and drugged and not in her right mind. She in May was abused in gang art, etc. You have daughters, stand on business about not normalizing wicked, weird behavior. As a rapper, you have a responsibility to start influencing men to do the right thing. If this was your daughter, your foot would be on his neck." Now, you know what's crazy to me? Here's 2 things, right? Everybody talks about Diddy having Cassie at a young age, but a lot of people forget that before Diddy had her, Ryan Leslie had her. Not to mention, Ryan Leslie was born in 1978, and he was dating her around 2006, 2007, which would have made him 28, 29 years old. Keep in mind, those are just the years that we knew about them dating. That would have made Cassie back at that time, being that she was born in 1986, that would make her 20 and 21 years old around 2006 and 2007. Now keep in mind, I told y'all those are just the years that we know about them dating. So if they was dating a little before that, that will put her anywhere between the 1918 mark and yeah. Now also, another thing that people forget, number 2, when they talk about these Diddy parties and talk about young underage kids or girls being, in attendance, why we never hear about the princes, the politicians, and the record label execs that they say attended these parties as well? Why we only talk about Diddy when we know that in the transcripts we heard a lot about these other people who were named within these court documents? But that's another story. Now, when you're talking about trafficking, that's another thing that you gotta be very careful about, because a lot of people, when they hear that, it sounds a little more sinister than it actually means. Now, this is why a lot of pimps get these type of charges, because by law, they're saying if you bring a woman over state lines with the intentions to have intercourse with her, then you're basically SEX trafficking. So to put it in layman terms, if you have a girl and you tell her you're gonna fly her out to Miami or another country or whatever the case may be, and your intentions is to have SEX and y'all talked about it on the phone or whatever the case may be, then technically they can consider that SEX trafficking. A lot of people don't know that. So fellas, be careful out there. Now, to get back to the comments made by Boosie, like I told y'all before, it's going to be people that agree and disagree. We already heard one user disagree, but another user will actually agree with Boosie, as he would tweet saying, quote, "Seriously, she enjoyed the money, the fame, the lavish lifestyle, the SEX, the drugs, the attention. Now she cries victim. She could have left at any time, but she didn't. Abuse isn't acceptable, obviously. but she was a willing participant in 90% of what went on. Now, before we end the video, let me say this, man. Things like this is very touchy and it's very, very dangerous, because these days you do have women that do allow their man to do things with other women, at least while they're present. So I know a lot of y'all see on social media where these girls willingly have sex acts with other girls and their men, and just the whole 9 yards, man. Like I said, some people are into that stuff, they kinky, and that's their business. Now, if Diddy was sitting there and really like forcing her and R-ing her and taking it, then that's one thing, right? But if we don't hear none of that, we don't hear that he like was taking it from her and doing X, Y, and Z, I don't know, man. It do sound kind of consensual to me, but like I said, these are one of these topics that's touchy and everybody get their emotions involved. I like to stick with the facts and whatever we're being told. And one thing we can agree with is that industry is weird. If y'all remember, you did have Young Miami, who's also or was in a relationship with Diddy or whatever they had going on. They had some other weird love triangle that was going on where he was just openly messing with a whole bunch of women, right? And everybody was cheering Young Miami on. She even went as far as telling people that she like golden showers during the interview.
You got to.
It say take a shower if you like golden showers. I do.
Golden showers, meaning when the guy pees on you, pee on you everywhere. You like it?
I just like it.
You do? Freak of the week, huh? So
right? And nobody said nothing then. Like I said, if they're into that kinky, weird stuff, that's on them, right? I guess when it's beneficial, that's when people complain. And last I heard, she was paid $30 million to settle. So I thought when you settle, you know, that's it. There's no more charges. There's no more coming to court testifying. What happened to that? I don't know, man. Y'all jump in the comments. Let me know what y'all think about this. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Hit that bell so you're notified every time we drop new content. And remember, as long as you keep on watching, I'm going to keep on dropping. And I'm out.